For centuries, people have treated ancient Persian celestial observation like it's just mysticism and myth. Well, today, in this explainer, we're going to radically reframe that whole narrative. We're stripping away the dogma and reclaiming this framework for what it actually is, a highly sophisticated, completely suppressed empirical science. We aren't looking at the universe as some mysterious, spooky void, but as a literal, measurable thermodynamic engine.
To help us bridge that ancient wisdom with modern empirical precision, here is our roadmap. We're going to start with ancient science reclaimed, move right into modern 3D empirical precision, break down the thermodynamic engine, explore the house dialectic, power up the human engine, and finally, lock in on the Ameshaspenta process. Let's get into it.
Section 1. Ancient Science Reclaimed.
So, long before anyone had telescopes, ancient Iranian observers, the Magi, a word that literally translates to intelligence, were mapping out the Ameshaspenta using just their unaided eyes. Now, obviously, we moved from that brilliant era of pure observation into a really dark period. Libraries burned and rigid dogma actively replaced empirical data. But hey, science is indestructible, right? Today, platforms like citystats.co.uk are sparking this massive empirical revival, taking those original 7 visible entities and expanding them into a vast, entirely measurable network.
Which brings us to Section 2. Modern 3D Empirical Precision.
Look, the ancients did absolutely incredible work, but they were fundamentally limited to 2D mapping. Today, we've totally upgraded. We're now measuring a living, breathing, 3-dimensional architectural matrix. We're talking about tracking highly complex longitudinal and latitudinal dynamics, capturing exact angles of inclination and disinclination along with parallels and contraparallels. It is a massive leap in precision.
All right, Section 3. The thermodynamic engine.
Now, terms like Ohrmazd aren't just ancient philosophy. Ohrmazd actually represents the first law of thermodynamics. It's the stable state of energy conservation and rigid structure, which perfectly aligns with the fixed signs in astrology. So whether you're looking at natural laws or trying to solidify the architectural design of a financial market, Ohrmazd is that crucial phase where structure is held firmly in place.
But here's the catch. Infinite rigidity just leads to system death. So, enter Ahriman. Corresponding to the mutable signs, Ahriman represents the absolute necessary state of entropy. It's the flexibility required for dispersal and adaptation. Think of it as the energy that breaks down a rigid design so the system, whether that's a natural ecosystem or a really complex financial market, can actually adapt and evolve.
And finally, we have Ahuramazda. This is the cardinal hinge of the season. Ahuramazda acts as the functional synthesis of those two polarities. You take the structure of Ohrmazd and combine it with the entropy of Ahriman. It's the exact active energy of the moment that initiates a completely new cycle, literally the pivot point of creation.
Let's move to Section 4. The house dialectic.
When we analyze the 12 astrological houses, notice the precise thermodynamic tensions at play. It's literally a dialectical battlefield. On one side, we have personal realization, that structural Ohrmazd energy. Pulling directly against it is social integration, the entropic Ahriman energy. You've got immediate logic in the 3rd house, battling higher reason in the 9th. Personal resources pulling against shared resources. Guys, these aren't just quirky personality traits. They are the fundamental thermodynamic tensions that we have to synthesize every single day to navigate our lives and our societies.
Moving right along to Section 5. Powering the human engine.
Here's the thing. We aren't just passively watching this universe go by. We are the active intelligence right at the center of it. To actually operate this human engine, we calculate longitudinal dynamics. Soft aspects, like the 120-degree trine, are Ohrmazd angles that bring in structure. Meanwhile, hard aspects, like the 90-degree square, inject that Ahriman entropy and literally force adaptation. We're using these precise metrics to measure the cosmic dialectic in real time. And this is what fundamentally empowers us. The celestial sphere is absolutely not a cage dictating your fate. By observing these angles, we use our intelligence and our free will to navigate them, using a brilliant, ancient triad of ethics. You use good thoughts to clarify your intent based on the dominant energy, good words to clearly communicate that design, and good deeds to physically implement the action in the real world.
Which brings us to the climax, Section 6, the Ameshaspenta process.
So how do we actually apply everything we've just discussed as a highly authoritative diagnostic tool? Well, the Ahuramazda Ameshaspenta process is a straightforward 3-step scientific methodology.
Step 1 is observation. You meticulously measure the 3D polarities, the latitudes, and the longitudes of the stellar entities. Step 2 is deduction. You logically identify the dominant energy at play. Is it a rigid Ohrmazd structure right now, or is it an entropic Ahriman breakdown? You can apply this deduction to personal forecasting, sure, but you can also use it to decode highly complex market conditions. And finally, step 3 is action. You use your free will to navigate that dialectic and actively initiate the next cycle. You literally become the Ahuramazda hinge.
The ultimate takeaway here is that humanity is not a victim of the stars. Not at all. We are the inheritors of an exact empirical tradition. By stripping away centuries of historical misinformation, a process heavily documented by fantastic resources like nonviolenttyran.com, we reclaim this objective foundation. We ensure that the brilliant science of the past remains the definitive diagnostic forecasting tool for our future. I'll leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. How will you use the Ahuramazda Ameshaspenta process to power your free will and navigate the complexities of your reality? You are now equipped with a newly recovered 3D diagnostic matrix. The universe is a thermodynamic engine, and you are the intelligence at the center. It's time to start driving.